You think you've had to backtrack a lot more now that the editors tell you to make it more detailed?
You know, that's not really what the editors wanted for me.
Welcome to Cloudtown Tuesday, the day where I share a page from my graphic novel, Cloudtown, and tell you about the process of making it. It's like a editor's commentary on a DVD. So here it is. Let's go. Let's do it.
Are you doing 2 different colors on this? On the rough?
You know, I bounced between pink and blue a lot when I did the roughs, just because I do a layer and then I want something that contrasts, but also I could draw over. And I just ended up really kind of liking the way it looked, and it was just kind of my mental space.
Okay.
Was pink and blue. It's funny because it's bouncing between the traditional illustrators pencil and the traditional animators pencil, right? Animators use red pencil often, and illustrators use blue.
Is there a specific reason for that?
Well, usually the animator will use either red or green for the shadow shapes, animating the shadow shapes.
Oh, cool.
Which is the shadow shape?
Usually, I think red is like the shadow shape. Like if you look at a lot of those anime books over at Japantown, Kunio, you'll see either a blue outline for the figure shape, and then like
it'd be like a
red,
white red,
like a red highlight, or sometimes a green. But it's to just design those different shadow layers on the character.
So for people who don't know, the blue pencil is traditionally an illustration because it wouldn't show up in scans or Xeroxes.
Nice.
Nowadays it can, but you can filter it out. Yeah. But the idea is that if you're drawing hundreds of pages and you do it in blue pencil and ink right on top of it, and then don't bother to erase, just scan with the blue there.
Easier to...
Yeah, it saves you days of your life.
That is so handy to know, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that, how you could scan it without erasing the underlayer.
Yeah, so non-photo blue. It's a light blue color. I really like the idea of this mad scientist lady having a huge, messy lab on the top floor.
I love her hairdo.
Thanks, yeah. Originally, Dr. White was a male scientist. I was like, why are they all male scientists? And I was like, what is the lady version of crazy Einstein hair? And it's a top knot for sure. Like every kooky artist type I know has a giant messy top knot that shove pencils in and forget about them. So
it's brilliant.
You can't read this in the book, but that sign on her door under CareCorp Executive Offices says, "Do not enter or my potbelly penguin will eat you," adding some levity. I really like the idea of in the future people have glasses that can have screens on it, and she would always be avoiding the danger signs that say you're walking with crowded vision. So she's just blindly walking around, playing on her computer all day, running into stuff, walking around like a ghost in her own laboratory.
That's the feature right there.
Yeah.
I like how you're using the surroundings to describe the character. Besides her large hairdo on herself, she has things that describe her, like with her door and her laboratory and how it's a little messy. I think that's cool.
Also that she's so focused, she doesn't realize she just
like
crushed
is
a man.
Knocking into stuff. Are these advertisements in the back? These are in her glasses. I see. Yeah, that's cool.
Some of them are ads. Some of them are information about new hires. There was going to be secret stuff about Penn in some of these. I don't know if they ended up happening. I was hoping to have some of the stuff she gets advertised in here. Like they're selling her spicy noodles and then later she's buying these spicy noodles and eating them. You know, stuff you wouldn't necessarily notice. And then you can see again, when the darker blues come in, that's a year later because I was asked to add more depth with different shades of blue.
Interesting. So when you work on this, do you always record what changes
it automatically records. You can turn that off, but I really enjoy it being there. One of the really valuable things about it, other than being able to do stuff like this, is that when I totally mess up, when I get in a bad brain spiral and I'm just making the page worse and worse and worse, to the fact I can't undo all the way back, you can backtrack in the time-lapse, screenshot it, import that image, and then you're back at a sane place. Take a breath, maybe walk around the block, and then you get back to work.
Is the resolution the same?
No, it's not very good. But like that's why.
So do you redraw?
Yeah.
Like you just retrace it.
Or if
Okay.
it's a rough, it doesn't matter too
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And nowadays, I'm only really doing roughs on the iPad, and then I'm doing finished work on, well, inking in physical realm.
You think you've had to backtrack a lot more now that the editors tell you to make it more detailed?
You know, that's not really what the editors wanted for me. I think I overcrowded things. I'm going to try in future to limit that a little bit. Like, having 1 or 2 strong backgrounds per page makes it a lot more readable. That's
Yeah.
kind of the rule of thumb. I'm like, every
think
new
that's-
setting and 1 per page, ideally.
Yeah, I think that's good. You know, you can really lose a lot of time trying to do accurate backgrounds, especially if you're trying to hand draw them.
Honestly, even just trying to do
the
inaccurate
deadlines,
backgrounds.
too.
Yeah. So now on my Patreon, you get 2 pages of comics every single week, and sometimes I'm running behind. And when I'm running behind, I do what like all manga people do. I realize like, well, I don't need to have all these panels on this page because I tend to just stuff things full. And then when I realize, like, whoa, I need to get this in now, I can do 1 establishing shot and 4 panels instead of a 9-panel page. And that cuts down my work by almost half.
Yeah.
And it actually looks better, it breathes better, and gives you
It
more
reads,
suspense.
I think it generally reads better. The more detail you put into a panel, the more it becomes an illustration as opposed to a sequential narrative.
Yeah, it reads less like a story in a sense.
Yeah.
With the pacing, because I feel like
It's-
detail adds like slower pacing to it too.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes if you're detailing all the time, people stop paying attention to it, maybe. I mean, there's this thing where I think I like the way things look better when I put detail in everything, but I don't actually. It crowds stuff and it distracts. Like, you don't want to do too much or too little.
It depends on like what type of experience you want the reader to have, because you might want to have those detailed panels to slow them down or create some type of
Maybe like a
environment.
grand scene that's
Right,
happening,
yeah.
and then the
You put
rest is like
something-
the smaller stuff in between.
But that's the thing. The music can only turn up so much.
This is 11.
Yeah, if you start at 11.
But this one's, you see, this speaker goes to 11.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so here's another page.
I love that movie. Final Tap
Spinal Tap for you kids.
for you kids. Smell
Never
the glove.
seen that movie.
Oh yeah, you should. Yeah, I recommend it. Fun.
Yeah,
Let's have fun, kids.
Well, like, kind of, maybe. I don't know. Is that your
Don't have
philosophy?
fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
not have
No,
fun. You need to struggle while you draw.
You need
You need
to.
to feel the pain.
Yeah.